I mean, I feel like with Yuna at our backs, you know, like, this interview should go pretty well. And on the intellectual kind, I feel like, I mean, not charismatic, necessarily, but I still think that I could probably at least understand and present the statistics pretty well. I wake up after the first sound of my alarm and hop out of bed. Today's the interview. As I get dressed, I practice my speech in my head. Breakfast goes by in a blur as I try to anticipate what questions they will ask me. Before long, I reach the campus. As if in a daze, I go to class and take a seat by the window.
Good morning, class. I hope you are all prepared for the pop quiz.
I am always prepared for a pop quiz. Pop quiz? I didn't hear about a pop quiz. That's why it's a pop quiz.
You are absolutely right.
Yeah.
That is why, young man, it is called a pop quiz.
Right. The only person who is amused by that is the professor. He hands one page out to each student, and soon I am staring at a sheet of questions. I breeze through the quiz. These questions are so easy since the material is a repeat of what I studied at CINY. I spend some time completing the rest of the questions. With my quiz complete, I hand it in at the front of the class. Thank you. I nod and return to my seat. The professor waits for the rest of the class to finish before beginning the lesson. That almost seemed pointless to have. We'll see if it leads to anything.
That is all for today. Have a good afternoon.
As soon as class is dismissed, I rush out of the building. Why even show that? Nothing happened in that scene. There were no options? I didn't learn anything? I don't know. I'm not sure why I'm in such a hurry. I still have a few hours before I need to meet Yuna. I wonder what I should do to pass time. To pass the time. Again, like, if these are my options... I want to see about this. We'll go Coyote again. I should check up on Eagle and see how bad the damage really is. Hopefully it'll still be in fighting form even without the repairs from a sponsor. When I arrive in the hangar, I see a familiar face. Coyote is circling her gear with a critical eye. I guess we had the same idea. Hey, Coyote. She nods at me. How does it look? Coyote looks solemn. Coyote. I can do that.
It could be better. The damage is mostly cosmetic, but there is some damage here and here, which could impact performance.
She points to the areas on her gear.
This will reduce overall acceleration and top speed. It hurts the aerodynamic nature of Aura.
Aura?
Yeah, Aura. The name of my gear.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that. I suddenly remember a conversation I had with Sho regarding gears and their genders. Is Aura a female?
Well, the gear is an embodiment of a pilot, so...
Phew.
Yes.
I'm a little surprised Aura has a gender. I didn't take you as a sentimental person. Or as a sentimental person, yeah. She looks calm, but her voice gets a little defensive.
What's that supposed to mean?
I mean, I get that the gear is shaped like a female for the purpose of sponsorship and to appeal to spectators, but... I trail off, unsure how to verbalize my question without offending. How do you ask someone about the boobs of their gear? Is that really... Luckily, Coyote seems to understand.
This frame is smaller for better agility. And
She looks at the chest area of Aura. Her face flushes.
extra storage space contains emergency energy packs for the thrusters, in case the core temporarily overheats. Their
Kind of confused right now.
location just happened to be there for the best weight distribution of the gear.
I see. Aura sounds no-nonsense and efficient. They really do embody their pilots. I suppose that makes sense. She nods. We both continue reviewing her gear. The silence only grows more and more awkward. So, how did you come up with the name? If I didn't know any better, I would think it was named after the anime Ninja Ranger. The one in pink was called... The one in pink was also called Aura? Or... Oh, that's not a question. The one in pink was also called Aura. Ninja Ranger, is that just Power Rangers? Coyote glares at me.
Yeah, so? It is named after her.
Are you serious? Good joke. You almost had me. There's no way. I feel like this is the nicest of them. I raise an eyebrow in question. You? Into anime?
What's so hard to believe about me liking anime?
Now that I think about it, I didn't really consider what sort of hobbies Coyote has. Although, anime would be on my list of probably not or impossible for her. Dots. More. Actually, isn't Aura the Ranger of Honor? She blinks in surprise.
How did you know that?
I also watch anime. I might be into anime as well.
Really? That's a surprise.
What's that supposed to mean? What's so hard to believe about me liking anime? I quote. Coyote blushes in embarrassment.
I guess we were both making unfair assumptions.
That's right. I'm glad we're now taking the time to talk more and learn more about each other. She looks at her gear before facing me again.
So... which is your favorite ranger?
I like this! I'm opening her up! Alright. My favorite ranger is, green. Her speech is halted as if she's too embarrassed to even ask the question. Shoot. Is it just green here because I picked the intellectual one, you know? And so it's just, there's the match. Then again, I did say my favorite was green, and because I don't really know about all of these, there is technically only one green option. I'll do it. Oh my gosh! Okay, I know that it's not. It's Tome. You know, Tome, the Ranger of Knowledge. That makes sense. However, the Green Power Ranger is Tommy. Tommy! It fits! Tommy, the Ranger of Knowledge. Tome.
The Ranger of Knowledge! He was always integral to solving the mysteries.
He was! He really was! No, go back to that. That was cute. I stare at Coyote in surprise. I don't think I've ever seen her so animated. She blinks at my astonishment before her face reddens.
Well, I mean, if you're into that.
I let out a chuckle. Coyote smiles. I'm glad I was able to learn something new about you. Her cheeks redden even further.
Don't make it sound like that.
Oh, sorry. She shovels her feet and avoids my gaze.
But it is a little nice knowing you like anime, too.
Yeah, we could totally talk about this sort of thing. That was cute. I like that scene. We spend some more time together at the hangar before she has to head out for her class. Yuna is already waiting for me at the library. A tablet with the SBA logo is clutched in her hand. She smiles and breathes a sigh of relief when she sees me.
Oh, good. You're still wearing your uniform. I forgot to tell you yesterday to wear it, and remembered too late to text you.
I think it makes sense, though. Oh, I was so preoccupied on what I would say today that I forgot to think about what I'd wear. No worries. I hope my voice sounds more confident than I feel. Yuna notices the waver in my voice. Apparently I don't sound that confident. She places a hand on my shoulder. The heat of her hand soothes my nerves and I relax a little bit.
Okay, well, are you ready to go?
Yeah, let's do this. She starts towards the bus stop when I stop her. Ah! I right-clicked, whoops. Though on that note, quick save! Yay! I can drive us.
Are you sure?
Yeah, let's go. Do I want to, though? That might mess with our appearance a little bit, you know, like the wind and everything. And the fact that she's gonna have to hug me again. She follows me into the parking lot and to my bike. Without a second thought, I hop on, but Yuna hesitates. What's wrong?
Oh, nothing. I just didn't know you had a motorcycle and not a car.
Did you hit your head? Is this one of those cases where they, when creating the game, didn't consider the option of, like, you offering to give her a ride sort of thing? Because she would have known I had a bike. Anyway, she gingerly slides onto the bike. Once she's settled, we speed off. Yuna directs me where to go and eventually tells me to park in front of an impressive building. It's narrow, but shoots straight into the sky, cutting through the clouds. That's a tall building. As we walk in, a perky receptionist greets us from behind her desk.
Welcome to WorkTap Corporation. How may I help you?
Yuna steps forward.
I'm Yuna Misaki from Ace Academy's SBA. We have an appointment with Mr. Takeda.
The receptionist smiles and gestures to the empty chairs.
Of course. If you'll please take a seat, he'll be with you shortly.
Fantastic. As soon as we take our seats, the receptionist types a rapid sequence into her computer, then drags the document from her monitor onto her tablet and disappears into a hall in the back. I glance at Yuna. She's meticulously going over her notes. Are you nervous? She thinks for a minute.
Not as much as I thought I'd be. Are you?
I'm either really nervous or really hungry. Nobody can resist these pearly whites. Nerves are like feelings. They don't exist. What? I'm doing this one. My stomach is in knots. Yuna smiles encouragingly.
Don't worry. You'll do great.
Thanks, Yuna. Her confidence helps ease my nerves, and I smile back. I'm glad I have you here with me. A blush creeps into her cheeks, but she seems pleased. The receptionist comes back and gestures for us to follow her. Her ponytail bounces behind her as she walks briskly down the hall and directs us into a spacious office. Oh, hello. Awfully close. A portly older man sits behind an old-fashioned mahogany desk. Mahogany. His jowls wiggle as he offers us seats, which we... This dude portly? Which we both take. The walls are painted white, but one wall has a translucent sheen with Yuna's SPA submission packet projected on it. His chair squeaks in protest as he leans forward to greet us.
Miss Misaki, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you for agreeing to meet with us, Mr. Takeda. I'd like to introduce my associate.
It's me, Riz. I'm Riz Grestar. It's nice to meet you. He nods in acknowledgement while Yuna continues.
He is here to represent his team at Ace Academy.
And you are in need of a sponsor.
Yup. Yes, sir. He waves a hand towards the wall and shuffles the data on there.
As you can see, Miss Misaki did a detailed job of describing you and your team in your application. But I'd like to hear from you. Tell me about yourself.
Where do I begin? I've always had an interest in gear. What's there to tell? Let's do with it, yeah. I grew up in the world of gears and knew from an early age that I wanted to be a pilot. While a student at CINY, I began my program in piloting and earned top marks in all of my classes. I recently transferred and tested into the pilot program at Ace Academy, where I'm pursuing my degree in piloting.
As a transfer student, that's not an easy program to test into.
He sounds impressed.
Tell me, out of all your other options, why did you choose Warp Tech Corporation?
I had no other options. I didn't. You're the best around. Money, 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 money. I don't want to say like, oh, I didn't have any other options, you know, but I don't know if this is accurate. Definitely not the middle one. I'll say you're the best around. I'll go with that one. We'll go with some flattery. I mean, they did sound like he almost dropped the phone when he heard about this, so they've got to be really good. It was an easy decision. Warp Tech Corporation sets the standard for gear weaponry. I read about your latest announcement of the advancement in particle technology. Some output on beam weaponry while reducing, same output on beam weaponry while reducing core usage by 15%. None of your competitors have made a breakthrough like that yet.
There has also been some controversy over that release.
Some are saying using the new technology will affect the longevity of a weapon, but there's no proof of that yet. I prefer to see evidence than believe rumors. He nods. He seems
It's
to like
refreshing
that,
to see a young person keeping up to date with the latest releases.
Good. I think I detect a hint of approval in his voice.
Okay, and why should Warp Tech Corporation choose you? In other words, what sets you apart from the competition?
We're a breath of fresh air. My team is half women. I'm international. I think the big thing that was a selling point for us was the fact that we're an up-and-coming team. Like, we're kind of new to the block, you know? But we've already proven ourselves to be pretty capable. I don't think that, like, there are full teams of women, and there are full teams of international students, I'm sure. So I don't think that those 2 points are really anything to be, you know, like, particularly proud of. Like, they aren't as standout. So I'm going to say we're a breath of fresh air and hope that it phrases that all well. As a new team, we aren't so set in our ways that we stifle creativity. We're not afraid to try new strategies we think will benefit the team, and we're receptive to feedback. That said, we're also acutely aware of our abilities. We work well together because we are upfront with each other, not only about our strengths, but also about our weaknesses, and we use that knowledge to our advantage. I sneak a peek at Yuna, who looks pleased. Mr. Takeda seems to appreciate my answer as well.
Well, I think I've heard enough for now. Miss Misaki, do you have a copy of your team's qualifier transcripts?
Yes, of course.
She flips on her tablet and flicks the document onto the projected wall. The interview seems to be going well. I glance at Yuna, who smiles encouragingly at me. Mr. Takeda takes a quick glance at the file and frowns. Oh no, why'd you frown?
Your team is only ranked 21.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say only 21. Like, it's out of a jillion. Did you know that? 21 out of jillion is pretty good, sir. Yes, sir. He sighs and turns off the projection.
You seem generally passionate about your team and your studies, and perhaps if the circumstances were different, we would consider your candidacy. Unfortunately, Warp Tech only accepts teams who are ranked within the top 10 from Ace Academy.
Darn. As I'm still processing the rejection, Yuna protests on my behalf. Like, maybe you should have possibly seen that before dragging me all the way here for an interview just to say no because of that, despite everything else going really well.
Mr. Takeda, couldn't you make an exception? You said yourself that if rank weren't a factor, his team would be a strong candidate. A representation by you would make a significant difference in their growth and development, and their success reflects positively on you and your company.
I'm sorry, Miss Misaki. I do believe with skills like his, he will find a sponsor. Just not with us.
I don't like you anymore, sir.
Won't you even give him a chance?
Like, that's really... I do feel like that's really bad on his part, you know? I mean, first, yeah, do your own bit of research. I mean, I feel like part of it should have been that the ranking was already sent, where he would get, like, the details. Sorry, not the details necessarily. What am I saying exactly? He would get to know the numbers kind of thing. And then the interview is to learn more about the person in general, you know? So you're more than just numbers on a page, but, you know, you can put a face to it and you get to hear more about their perspectives and everything. I feel like it was a mistake to not have that before the interview, especially if that one thing is going to determine... Like, and then why have that, like, ask for that only at the end of the interview, too? Like, it's dumb.
Miss Misaki, I'm sure you understand the image that we have built and what would happen to that image if we stop recruiting from the top 10. I thank you very much for your interest in us and wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors.
Did you just say endivores? He just said endivores. His voice has a hard edge of finality. He gestures towards the door, then returns his attention to his desk. All pretenses dropped, Yuna storms out of the office while I follow calmly behind. Disappointment makes my feet feel heavy. After we leave the building, Yuna whirls to face me.
What? A hypocrite! How can his company promote taking risks when he won't take any himself?
No, you're right. The guy is a total douchebag. He was.
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
It's okay. It was a long shot anyway. Even though we didn't get the sponsorship, I still appreciate you helping me out.
Don't give up just yet. I will get you a sponsor.
I'm not sure how far a positive thing will get us. Leaving less to the imagination might work out in our favor. Let's be realistic. I guess this one, yeah. We should show off more of our assets next time.
I doubt that would work.
That's not the reaction I expected. I've never seen her so serious before. And what I meant by that was more like, let's not leave things to the imagination. Let's straight up give them the information first. That's what I meant. I'm not sure what else we can try. Without waiting for me to answer, she hops on the back of my bike. I get on after her and start the engine. Yuna is quiet the entire ride back to campus. When we arrive, she gives me a hurried goodbye and rushes off, leaving me wondering just what she has planned. Well, sitting here and stewing in my thoughts isn't productive. I have some time before I need to go home. Maybe someone will be free. What? I thought I was gonna do something before I went home. Isn't that what I was just saying? I have time before I go home. Maybe someone's free. Didn't give me an option. I'm just here. I'm in a happier mood when I arrive home. Why? Why am I in a happier mood? What happened? Hey guys, I'm home.
You can't just decide that without telling me.
Uncle Kaito's voice stops me. I can see him pacing back and forth in the kitchen. Is he on the phone?
So cut it short. This is the opening day of my new restaurant. They'll expect me to be there and they'll expect you there too.
As I get closer to the kitchen, I can hear a woman's voice on the other end of the line.
I really don't care. Part of our arrangement was that we'd consult each other before making a decision, and you didn't. So how you're supposed to be in two places at once really isn't my problem.
A flurry of muffled words on the line has Kaito frowning deeper and deeper.
Don't forget, we are still married.
Oh.
We promised to do whatever it took to make sure nothing interfered with our careers. Well, if you don't show up, then that will certainly interfere with my career.
Married? Is he talking to Aunt Yuki? There's a pause. I think I hear her say, "I'll see what I can do," and hang up. He looks upset. Uncle Kaito slams the phone onto the table, then falls into a chair and holds his head in his hands. Hey, Uncle Kaito. He glances up and gives me a weak smile.
You're back. How was school today?
Good. I sit beside him. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but I heard you talking to Aunt Yuki just now. He looks a little uneasy, but waits for me to finish. What did you mean by still married? Isn't Aunt Yuki just away on business?
Sort of.
Kaito sighs wearily and rubs his temples.
I suppose you're old enough to know the truth. Your aunt and I are separated. We have been for the last 6 months.
The last 6 months? But you aren't divorced?
No.
How come we didn't know? We're your family.
We had to keep it quiet. Divorce is viewed differently here in Japan. It's not as common as in the States, and Yuki and I don't want our personal issues to interfere with our careers.
I remember the stories Mom told me about how difficult it was when she and Dad first got married. She couldn't have stayed in Japan even if she wanted to. Really? If you two were just separated, does that mean Aunt Yuki is here in Isakaze?
Yes.
Shouldn't have lied. Does this mean I can see her? I get it. I know Japan has stricter rules on family and what's proper, so I don't blame you for keeping this a secret from us. Kaito grins in relief.
You don't know how much that means to me, kid.
Are you going to tell Nikki? He thinks before responding.
Yes, I will.
Do you think she'll be angry you lied? Nikki has always been more sensitive than I. He shrugs.
Maybe. But I think she's mature enough to understand why we did it.
Yeah, it must be exhausting hiding it from everyone.
It has been.
What did Aunt Yuki say when you told her we were living with you?
Well, about that.
You haven't told her? Kaito trails off and refuses to meet my eyes. She doesn't know we're here?
No.
Were you planning on telling her?
Of course. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
I nod. Uncle Kaito doesn't share anymore, but I can't stop myself from asking. Since we're talking about it now, what happened between you two? He sighs.
Yuki was ready to have kids, and I wasn't. We discussed the possibility of having children when we first got married, and I kept pushing it back. I wanted to focus on my career, and for a while, so did she. But you know how women are. At some point, their biological clock starts ticking. She didn't want to wait anymore.
But you still weren't ready?
No. After that huge argument, we started to drive each other crazy. I became acutely aware of all those small things Yuki did that I hated. We fought all the time, and at some point, we agreed that this wasn't working anymore.
Sad.
And that's how it's been for the last 6 months until we can figure out a more permanent solution.
I have to sneeze. I was gonna interrupt this. Hi, I'm back. It's kind of funny that even though you weren't ready for kids, you ended up with them anyway. He grins.
You guys don't count. You practically take care of yourselves. I'm just here to provide the roof.
True enough. Gee, thanks. Maybe it's a good thing you didn't have kids. He laughs. So what was this phone call tonight about? Kaito turns solemn again.
Part of our agreement for our separation was that we will both do whatever it takes to keep up the pretense of marriage when it involves our careers.
Oh, why not?
She's going on some sort of retreat with her girlfriend. Normally we consult with each other before booking any trips to prevent something like this from happening. But this time she didn't. I really need her there.
Yuki and a girl. See, I didn't want to jump to conclusions about that kind of girlfriend, because it could have just meant female friend, because that's just a more common thing with girls. You know, if you say boyfriend, then like that usually always means a relationship, but girlfriend I feel can mean either one. I also don't care. Clear this arrangement isn't working either. Man, I don't want to be like I don't want to be falsely optimistic with the she'll be there, because I don't know. And she said she'll see what she can do. And clearly this arrangement isn't working either. Like, that might be true, but it's nothing that he can do. I don't want to, like, feed into that negativity so much. I wonder just how bad it actually is in Japan. Like, how negatively would that affect him? Because if I were to say clearly this arrangement isn't working either, and they tried to change things or just drop it, you know, like, would that ruin him? Because I wouldn't want that, of course. This is one of the hardest decisions of the game, and it, like, probably doesn't even matter that much, at least, I don't know. Even though this kind of feeds into negativity, I think I'm gonna kind of take his side with this. You know, I've had conversations like this with my parents, and yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Maybe you guys should just get that divorce. All traces of playfulness are gone from Kaito's face.
Excuse me?
Well, living together wasn't working, and being separated doesn't seem to be working for you two either. If she doesn't show up to the grand opening, how would that be any better than getting divorced?
It's not the same. Missing one engagement can easily be excused. There's no turning back from divorce. Neither one of us can afford that.
It really must be a big deal there. I shrug. If you say so.
I do.
Uncle Kaito glances at the clock and stands.
I didn't realize how late it's gotten. I have an early start tomorrow.
Don't you always have an early start? You get up before I do.
True, but I have an even earlier start than usual.
Ouch. Yuck. Well, hopefully it all works out for Kaito. We say goodnight and Kaito heads upstairs. I go into the living room and turn on the TV. After watching my shows and the news, I turn in for the night.